Okay, so let's continue on connecting our controller model and is it view? We don't have view. This is model controller API and our data. So let's do for announcements. Announcement table. So how does my announcement table look like? I have something like this. This is my table structure. I'm just gonna let this guy design, convert this into something nice for me. Convert to Golang model. So let's see what it does. Then I can filter out what I don't need for this application. But I think I'm gonna need quite a lot of stuff. So let's start removing stuff. The ID, primary key, tenant, very important. Status, table is announcements. I'm not gonna be needing SMS. Show on homepage, it's not gonna be optional anymore. It's gonna be mandatory. Send mail, nah, for now. Okay, let me leave it there. Employees, there's a controversy here. Where do you have employee in a list here? So that's a controversy thing. I'm gonna build a different structure for that. We're not supposed to have a list of IDs as a column. We're supposed to have a table join another table. So who created it, who approved it? The type is also depreciated. Title and everything looks okay. Yes, the next thing is for me to convert this to a DTO. So let's head straight to our DTO and I'm going to slam it under the organization folder. So I say convert to DTO, remove Golang parameters. Okay, so let's have that happen. So I need to also remove all this JSON stuff. I don't need it for my other data. So I have the route set. I don't need this guy opened. Which other one do I want to close? So I have this set. This is supposed to be ID. Tenant ID date. Do I need to export the tenant ID? Tenant ID. Do I need to expose it? No, I don't need to expose that for now. Status. I think I need to know the status, but I need to join it as another table. No. Who created it? So I need to, do I need who created it? No. So the status is important. So I need to know if it's good to be shown to the public. But I don't need the status like so. I need the status as an entity on its own, like so. So I don't think I've captured status. Who is sending me messages? Somebody is sending me messages. Hello. Good morning.
Sorry, before you say why you're calling me, let me tell you what.
we're going to append DTO to this section. I think the package name does that for us. So this can be status ID sits in there, and this can be the name of the status. I need to check if that's what it is in the database. Let's check that quickly. So status is coming with name. Good, that's what it is there. So this is fully loaded. Now the next thing is that I need to make sure that these guys are properly matched with what I'm doing in the model. So I don't think we've also fully grabbed status as a model. I think, yeah, I did that here. Okay, so another thing is I need to know if we've ever used it before. I don't think we've used it before to do anything tangible, so we can start making use of it here. So even though we called it here, I can actually not export it, right? But I'm gonna need it somewhere here. Now I will do status and do my, I need to let this guy complete this term for me. Complete the union, the join. Is it union or join? So let's see what it's gonna do, if it's gonna do something for us. So this is what it has done for us. Status ID, join status at the JSON return. Okay, so this should work fairly okay. Now we have the model set. We have the DTO also set. The next part we need to work with is the DAO. Which one should we start with first? Let's start with the controller. Yeah, let's start with the controller. So if we go to the controller, which is API, I call it API. I can just do a new file, announcements API, that's ANN, and I can just copy something that I have before and replace it here and tell this guy convert this to announcements. That's what I'll just tell it. So I want to convert this to announcements controller. So it's supposed to go through everything and change it from notification controller to announcement controller, theoretically. So let's see what it has done and then do some changes for us. It has done that. The next thing is that I want to, let me make sure it's doing everything right. Get announcements, get all announcements. Oh, we only have one. We didn't get announcement by ID. So I need to just get announcements. So why are you getting by this? Okay, this is employee. We don't need employee, so we instead need to know the tenant. So the tenant is key to getting this information. So at what level do we need to get the tenant? Is it at the controller level or at the object level? I would rather we get it as the data level, not at this level. But it means we need to know the context in which we are doing things. Okay, we can have that passed across the board. So I can remove this one here. So is the definition okay? Okay, so I return announcements. This is cool. Bad error response. So announcement is gonna be like so, not that way. Okay, so we have that set. We're not getting the employee through here. We're not getting anything like that. So what we're doing here is, first of all, let's just ignore this. We just need this as a placeholder. So retrieve list of announcements for dedicated user. Nope. Just retrieve list of announcements. So we need announcement services or service. So we go to the service API. Where's the service guy? And so we convert notice as, hey, I didn't create for notice. Okay. I thought I didn't do for notice. So I'm going to tell it to convert it to so this should be converted to announcement services. And once we have that done, we need to now create announcement DAO, or data part of the whole thing. So the next thing we need to create, we'll come back here and do the needful later. So that's it there. We have our ANN DAO.go. We copy what we have from notification and we can say convert to announcement DAO and let this do its thing. Okay, now that we have all the boilerplate set up, it's time for us to kind of start working our way up. So starting from the bottom part, we need to know the context when we are dealing with this, because we are going to be passing the tenant information. So when we are creating the announcement itself, we need to know the context in which it's been created for. So we do Gene context. This. Okay, so that's when we need this one created, we need it with the context as well. So let's properly return this. So the context needs to be coming from whosoever is creating it. So I'll use C as the context. So this becomes C Gene context. Okay, so whosoever is creating this new announcement deal should pass the context in here such that we can use the context to get our tenant information. So I can now do tenant TID and context CX dot get. So I need to see the parameter again for getting that information. Where's that formula? I think I did something here. No, not here. Not here. Definitely not in that part. So let me go to notice service. So I think it's in the controller for notice. Yep. So this is it here. Okay. But this time around, what I'm getting is tenant information. so that we can then do where tenant ID is equal to this. I hope it's safe to pass this one like this. Okay, so who are the people we are bringing in? We are bringing in the status, and that should be all. So announcements by descending order, we can get the last 50 announcements, which is safe to do, and then we'll find. I guess we are done with this one. So the next part should be almost the same thing. But if you ask me, I think we should get the tenants here. Actually, tenants should be here. Yeah, tenants should be here. So that we can then say tenant ID is this tenant that is being passed like so. Tenant ID. So we can comfortably say this tenant ID. I think this looks clean, but I'm coming back to this later. This will be from the service level. I think it makes sense to pull this from service level. Okay, so we can do the same thing here, and where tenant is equal to what we'll have here. So we're preloading this status with it. We don't need to do this, but we're getting it by the primary key though. We're not getting this. Is supposed to be get to get from get announcements. Well, this one is get by ID. So this maintain this, and this maintain this, but primary key needs to be defined. Okay, so we have you int. You have this one like so. We pass our information. We find no need of limits. We're already getting only one item, and that settles that. Looks like we're all good with this. So what I'm working on is I'm working on DAO. I want to get data from the database, and I'm creating this interface or this level of abstraction of how I get my data from the backend. So the next thing I need to go for is who is calling this DOA. The guy calling it is my service. Let's go to look for the service guy. The service guy is here. This model, this service, this is the guy calling it. So while creating it, this is where we're going to be getting a lot of stuff happening. But before we get there, I need to first say get announcements. This one is supposed to allow you to get all announcements. Okay, only one function here. Where we're trying to get the announcements, I can define my TID will be having s dot context dot get this. This is not set yet, but it's coming. So we don't need this all, guys. Don't need this guy. roaming around, but we know that this has the TO, DAO dot gets all announcements, and that is supposed to be here. So it comes with error as well. Okay, so that we return, this one becomes what we have here, where our return stays like this. Good. Okay, so let's look at the structure. How, because this is not complete. We need to pass two parameters. The first one is the tenant ID. So this is where we get tenant ID out from here. Tenant ID needs to be gotten out from here. But to get a tenant ID, we need to know the context. So this will be cx gene context, so that our cx becomes the gene that we pass that context, so that here we can then do this. So is it returning right? And this one is calling it any. This shouldn't be any. This should be converted to I think I shouldn't have that there. I need a helper class. So let's go create an helper class that will be converting this for us to integer. So we need a utility class. So convert to uint. So it's not just done for only tenants, actually, not for tenants, it's for anything. So get ID, get, what will I even call this? Get context. What will I call this guy? What does it do? Return the value of a given key. Get context key. So let me say get context key value. Okay, so let me call it get c key v, ckv. Yeah, and then I will now tell it int. So that way it knows to return integer of context key value. Yep, I think that's better. So this one depends on, so I'm passing the context. Do I need to pass the context? Yes, I need to pass the context, so I know which of the context I'm getting. Then I need to pass the key, our string. Then my key becomes here. Okay, this becomes my value. Okay, so this will always convert to this. So do for, by default is string. Is this string by default? But let's say do for string. So I won't call it string. I will just say it should just get it. Get contents value. So by default return string. We don't need to explicitly state that it's a string. But once we do this, this is what we will get. So our first use of this one will be here. So we can then do it this way, such that I can call my utility and my CX becomes there, and my tenant ID sits right there. Okay, so I'm back. I had to get something. So we have here tenant ID, and this guy's complaining. But we've passed the two variable arguments, two variables, but Oh, returns two variable or returns one variable. Okay, so that settles that. But the thing is, we don't have this tenant ID being returned somewhere. It's not also properly done because I know I've not employed it. I've not set it somewhere. I only set this. So I need to also set tenant ID. So we have TID, TID, we have a T guy, tenant ID. So that kind of settles that part of the code. Now we have this part done and we have the tenant ID being returned here. Okay, can I just put that in one line? Would that be neat or dirty? Okay, I think we're done with that part. What's going on here? I don't need this guy. Announcement type not necessary. So when we're getting when I'm getting announcements, I don't need any parameter passed because I have a tenant ID in place. So what I'm passing here is literally, I don't even need to specify tenant ID because tenant is going to the DOA. So I'm good in that part. So what parameter am I needing here? I don't need any parameter when I'm creating the DOA as well. This guy deals with this, and I think I'm good on this part. Going back to the announcement services, let's see. Let's take it back. Let's move back a little bit. Take a look at it again. Of announcement and error, getting all the announcements, pulling out, checking if the announcement is nil. That's done. Converting the announcement to DTO, and then everything is done. So what English would you prefer? So it prefers us to do ANS. So let's use, everywhere will have this to, well, everywhere will have this to ANS. So I'll just remove one N and it should be happy. We're all looking green. No underline. So let's look at the ANI API, which is the controller. So what does the controller need? The controller needs this with the context. We need the context. We have this gene context. So context needs to be passed across. Is that all we need? Yep, just the context. So what's the complaint about? You need a comma. Hope you're good right now. Okay, that's when the new controller has been created. Now, who is creating the new controller? The route is creating the controller. Where's the route guy? That's the route guy. So here, where is the controller? Is the controller inside my router? I think so. Contexts. Huh. So we need to pass the controller from the outside. No, the controller needs to go to the, so we can't pass the controller to the service from here. My bad. From here, we're supposed to pass the controller while we are creating so when we're creating the service here, let me check. So we can't pass the controller here. We can't pass it inside from here. We have to be inside this place and do something differently. So we need our controller to be controlled from here. This is where we need to get the tenant information from. So what that means is that some things are going to change in our structure. So let's get that going. So we have our context here. We can do our tenant. Our tenant, which is important, we'll get it by saying our utility, and we have our context. Then our tenant ID. Even though I believe this can be done in service level, because most times I don't want to do much in here, so let me ignore that a little bit. I'll come back to it later. Let's head straight to our service. So if we do our announcements, error ac.service.get announcements, so we can pass context to it, and I think we can pass the context to it and let it go and do its thing.